Oh, there it is. The bubble wrap I ordered from Japan. It's like giving birth. Turn it this way, maybe. Oh, look at that. Don't. I need another hand. Oh, look at that. That is a mint copy of a 35-year-old Minolta 500mm lens. Was it even used? Doesn't look like it. I mean, look at that glass. That is pristine. This is the only autofocusing 500mm reflex mirror ever made. Minolta. Pristine mint condition, $315. Then of course the FedEx guys got me for another $45. The strange part about this is they shipped it from Japan. This thing came from Japan and was at my house in Canada in 4 days, and they shipped it for free. So the $45 the FedEx guy got me for duties, I just look at it like a shipping cost. I can't believe the condition of this lens. This is the collector in Gary coming out right now. Oh God, I can't wait to try this thing. Do you guys see this protector filter right here that came on this lens? Nobody else seemed to notice on this particular lens, which was mint. Okay, there's a dozen of them on sale right now on eBay. This protector filter to buy right now at Henry's is $82 plus tax. So right there. And then with this particular lens, it also came with an extra lens hood. The original lens hood that came with these lenses was very small. It's this one here. Pretty much useless. This is another 20 bucks. So, even though I paid 300 bucks for this lens, I got $100 worth of extra stuff included. I'm stoked. Let's try this thing out. Just over at Tom's, it's kind of dark, but we're having a fire, and I am testing out the new 500mm lens, so I'll show you guys a couple photos. It's pretty dark, but it's still autofocusing. That's better. I also have to mention, I have never seen one with a red ring on it. I think whoever bought this lens added the red ring, because that's like a Canon. That's not a Minolta thing. That's a Canon thing. I mean, hey, it looks like it belongs on there, but I have never seen another one with that red ring. There's something else I didn't know about this lens. It doesn't work with my 2x or my 1.4x or any teleconverter. the back sticks out and it stops. I didn't know that. So we're just stuck with a 500mm lens, which we can then put on an APS-C camera, which gives us a measly 750mm, but it does have autofocus. Okay, order of operations. So I'm very disappointed that we can't use the 500mm with either of my teleconverters, which are Kenko. They're very good. They're from my Minolta system. They just don't work. The base of this lens sticks out just a couple millimeters and it doesn't work. However, what I wanted to do was to use this for macro photography with extension tubes. And if we put the extension tubes on underneath the lens and then attached the extension tubes to the teleconverter and the teleconverter to the camera, it works. So now we've got basically a huge telescope here. Look, it almost looks like it's drooping. It's not. Yeah, kind of. Well, it looks familiar. I don't know. Anyway, the size looks familiar. Yeah, I don't know about the droop. The first thing I did was put this on my A7R3 with the LAEA5 adapter, and it didn't work. And then I remembered, it's a screw drive lens, but that's okay. The LAEA5 will work with the A6600, so that's going to make this lens a 750mm lens. Okay, and then I started playing with extension tubes. I don't know why, and putting TCs on here. I don't want to do any of that stuff. We need to just try this lens out, get rid of all these extension tubes on this camera, and see what kind of results. I know it won't focus closer than 15 feet. With these extension tubes on there, I was able to focus about 6.5 feet away. About 6 feet. That's how close it will focus. It won't autofocus with the 2 times and all of the extension tubes on there. So that gave me an idea. What if I attach my 1.4 times and 1 extension tube? That won't allow us to focus out to infinity, but how far can we get? Well, I can still focus on that deer. Okay, so that target dummy out there. And the garage, the little shed, I can still autofocus with this 1.4 converter. So I'm going to say close to 100 feet. Now, it won't go any further than that. If I try to go halfway down my driveway, it won't autofocus. But for what I want, if we're just out shooting birds, I'm hoping to get within 100 feet of them. We can still put on 1 extension tube and use the teleconverters that I already own. I don't want to buy any new ones. And we can, this little extension tube is going to give us a little bit closer view as well. Compromises, right? Compromises. So, no adapters, teleconverters, extension tubes attached. Let's take this old 500mm Minolta lens out and review it and see what it can do in 2022. And why should you trust me and my opinion and my review? Because I'm wearing the t-shirt. All right, I was just driving by this little river here. I saw a merganser swimming across the river out there. And there's a little waterfall right here, a bunch of frost down in the grass. So I stopped, took a few pictures. So I'm shooting some of the foliage with the river in the background. If we can get a little bit of color, some leaves, whatever, that's what you need to do, because this lens has such cool out of focus areas that's what you want to try to incorporate into the images. Out of focus, you know, water rushing by in the background or something. You're like, I don't know, just try to be creative, folks. Try to be creative. I'm really hoping a deer jumps out on this trail, or some grouse. I'd like to get a bit of wildlife. I got some goats earlier driving by the farm. Plane was just flying by up there, and I had just enough time, like 2 seconds literally, point the camera, autofocus. I guess there's no settings we can really change on this lens anyway. The autofocus worked and we got a shot. You wouldn't be able to do that in manual focus mode with the amount of time that I had. So there's one instance where, hey, autofocus worked. Not a great shot, I don't think, but here, take a look. So you'll notice in these photos I'm taking of the backlit leaves, there's a couple sets here. So right here, there's these nice red ones, which I just shot. And previously, these nice yellow ones right here, which I shot. I am trying to get some of those white circular onion ring bokeh circles in the background. Trying to be creative with it. That's the purpose of buying an old lens like this. 30 years ago, that wasn't cool. People didn't like that. But now, if you're going to buy a vintage lens, that's the character I'm trying to bring out of shooting with this lens. If I move just to the side a little bit, I can take images without those rings. But what's the point? I can do that with a new lens, and the new lens cannot produce those rings. So, I like them. I think it's cool. It adds character. It adds a bit of creativeness to the image. Well, I think this video's got enough sample images and Gary rants and whatever else we've got in here to this point. We'll end it here. We're not done testing or playing with this lens because, like I say, I'm going to put some extension tubes and converters on here one way or another. And we're going to do some macro work with it. And I'll get you guys, you know, out adventuring again, testing out this lens somewhere. And I'll show you some more in Northern Ontario. Beautiful nature. Thanks for joining, guys. I'll catch you in the next adventure.